Hey, what's up, everybody? This is a special edition of The Better Version on YouTube. What you're going to see right now are two TikTok videos that I've put together discussing the book, The Gift of Rejection by Nona Jones. I encourage you to read this book. I pray that it blesses you the way it has blessed me, and I don't want to waste any more time. Let's get into the conversation. Listen, I want y'all to read this book called The Gift of Rejection by Nona Jones. This book, I'm only on the 4th chapter right now, but this book, for the 4 chapters that I've dived into, is incredible. And I just, something horse kicked me in my chest in chapter 4 that I had to stop and really process what I just heard. We always talk about faith, but a lot of times I don't think we really understand what faith is. And she just gave me something to marinate on. So, if you think of Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1, it says, "Now faith is the confidence in things we hope for and the assurance in what is not seen," right? So, in other words, we are confident in trusting God in the things that we hope for, and we have an assurance that He will come through on those things, whatever those things are. But that's in the absence of proof. And in chapter 4, she talks about evidence. And I said, you know what? We always make this mistake, or we mostly make this mistake frequently, that we say we have faith, but then we're looking for evidence of God's faithfulness. And it's like, well, wait, do you trust Him or do you not? And why do you need evidence in order to trust Him? That's not real trust, right? That's not real faith. And so I had to think about that because of the story that accompanied this topic. And it made me reflect on my own personal journey, which is something that you'll notice throughout the book, because if it's been happening to me throughout the first 4 chapters, I'm sure it's something that will continue to happen throughout the rest of the book. You'll notice that you'll often reflect on your own personal journey and your relationship with God. And it'll have you questioning, is it really what it is? Or can I dig deeper? And that's what I'm marinating on, is that I can dig deeper and look at my own personal situations and see how, you know how we love to say, oh, man's rejection is God's protection, which is true. But can you dig deeper in understanding what that protection is and why you were rejected? That's something we don't spend time on. Okay, so I don't want you to misunderstand me on what I just said about digging deeper, because it's not about knowing the facts, line for line, word for word, why God is protecting you. What I'm saying is do you trust it? Do you trust the fact that when we say man's rejection is God's protection, that He really is protecting you from something that you don't need to experience? And that you trust that you have faith that this pulling away is for your greater good. That's what I mean by digging deeper and understanding why we experience the rejections that we experience, and how, even when she talks about the story of Joseph, and for all you who read your Bible, you understand this too, that when we ultimately see why Joseph went what he went through, do we now take that as evidence of, okay, if this is occurring to me, or this is happening to me, or I'm in this situation, it's because God is doing a work within me, or God is, changing certain circumstances so He can put me in position. And our faithfulness in Him is what allows us to get to point B. I don't know if what I'm saying is connecting, but for me it's connecting. And that's why I look at rejection differently now, because it's not about something being wrong with me, but maybe just God recalibrating my path. I may think this is the way he's sending me, and it may have started that way, but then his sovereignty allows us to take a tangent, take a left turn, a right turn, whatever the case may be, because whatever is down that road is what's going to build us up to our destination point, whatever that is in that season of your life. So that's why I encourage people to dig deeper. It's not just about surface stuff and reading and, okay, got it. Nah, apply it to your life. See how God is working within you, just like how he's working within the person who wrote it. That's the kicker. What's up, y'all? Happy Friday. I almost forgot what day it is. It's a beautiful day. Just quick thing, don't forget to give God the glory and the praise that you're able to see this day today. Just quick thing to tell y'all. Listen, let's get back into this book of The Gift of Rejection. Like, this is too much. All right, so this is a continuation of my first video. So if you saw my first video, you know what I'm talking about. But in case you didn't, I was on chapter 4 by the time I had made that video. And I must say now what I said then. This book is going to have you face similar situations that have occurred in your life and prompt you to reflect. You're going to reflect on how you acted. You're going to reflect on the situation or incident, and you're going to take what the book is telling you and lovingly push you to look at it from a different perspective. Every chapter is going to do this. Okay, I'm on chapter 8 now, and I haven't finished the book yet, but I'm going to make this emphatic statement. I believe that chapter 8 is by far my favorite chapter. Even though I haven't I'm gonna start chapter 9 soon, and chapter 10 is the last chapter. But I still feel that chapter 8 is my absolute favorite chapter. And it has to do with how I'm viewing my life and my season right now. So I'm going to share one gem I got out of chapter 8, and it's not going to ruin it for you. If anything, I pray that it encourages you to read the book. I've shared it with another sister in Christ, and she's got it in her cart, and I pray that she's going to be blessed by this book as well, just due to some of the conversations that we've had in the past. And something that was said in the book reminded me of her, and that's why I shared it with her. So in chapter 8, because this whole book is about rejection, right? One of the gems that I got out of chapter 8 is that rejection hurts most when we feel we need that person or that thing or that experience or that opportunity. Just fill in the blank. Whatever you believe you need in order to get catapulted into the next season or push to the next level, whatever. Rejection hurts most when we feel we need that thing, that person, that experience. Don't tell me you didn't feel that. I may not have said it the way Nona said it, but either way, that is what I took away from that chapter. And I was like, ooh. All right, so let me share a story that is going to highlight the fact that we all go through similar things at different seasons of our lives. And the lie that the enemy plants in our minds is that we are so drastically different and no one will ever understand what we went through and blah, 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 blah. And he's going to shame you and isolate you from people who could share the similar experience, and you all can find comfort within one another. Okay, that's just a side note. So if you read chapter 8, she shares a story about people rejecting you, and she gives these particular examples. Now, one of those examples stood out to me because I had a similar experience. So about 3 years ago, I joined an organization and I joined a team. And the people that were on the team, some of the two of them I knew, and one I brought along with me to join. Okay? And as we're going along, everybody's excited that I'm a part of the team, and oh my gosh, haven't seen you in years, da 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 da. Okay? I'm gonna skip over a lot of stuff and I'm gonna get straight to the point. Whenever I join a team or I encounter a group of people and I feel that I can contribute to the group, I try to do that to the best of my ability and I give 100%. Now, in this group, I saw that there were a few cohorts, if you will, who were trying to pass some certification exams and were having such a challenging time doing so. Now, mind you, the certification exams, the course itself, it's not easy. It's a lot of information. But I was taught how to study smarter, not harder, smarter. And in understanding key elements in this course and what the certification exam is like, because you can do a mock test before you do the official certification exam, I was taught tricks and tips on how to study smarter. And I'm the type of person that when I learn something, I want to share it with other people, especially if they're in the same boat that I was in. Okay, so I approach my leadership. I say, listen, I have a really great idea. Let me run it by you because I saw how it helped me and I think it would help, some of the members of our team. I ran that idea, those tips and tricks, and I said I could put this together in like a, PowerPoint presentation, kind of like a training. What do you guys think? I think that's a great idea. And then the whole thing is we set up whatever team meeting that I was going to do that training. We were going to do it on that particular evening. For them, in their mind, they felt like, oh, this is great. Someone's taking initiative and it'll be a different voice outside of ours that might be refreshing for the team. Okay, great. So everything's set up and kind of put down on paper. And now, the day of that meeting, we get in the team chat that a lady is going to do a presentation essentially talking about the same things that I was going to talk about. Mind you, now, the difference between her and I is that the experience level is a lot more advanced than mine. She does this as, her own side gig. So she charges people to help them study for these certification exams, etc. Now, my thing is, I wasn't upset with her because she doesn't know me from a can of paint, nor do I know her from a can of paint. But what made me upset was the fact that these two gentlemen knew I had this idea, endorsed it, went through all the trouble of setting up a time and the framework for how we were going to conduct this team meeting, only to turn around and invite this lady to speak on the very same thing I was going to speak about on the same day. Did they say anything like, hey, Corey, we have, another guest on for the team meeting who's going to talk about the same thing. Do you still want to do the training, or, should we table it for another time, or even just, give me the opportunity to say, you know what, well, if she's going to talk about the very same thing that I'm talking about, then I'm not going to bother doing that. Did they give me those options? No. What they did is they put me in an uncomfortable situation where now it's like my feelings are hurt because you blindsided me, number one. And then number two, in a, covert way, you rejected me because you felt that somebody better could explain exactly what I was going to explain. Though I never gave you all the details as to how I was going to explain it, but just the simple fact that someone with more credibility was going to come on and speak on the very thing that I was speaking on, you undermined me, and you covertly rejected me. So, of course, for one who doesn't want to look dumb, I did my training, but at the end of the day, emotionally, I stumbled through doing that training because of the fact that I was just blindsided by this woman showing up doing the exact same thing that I was going to explain. And I started to feel insecure and insignificant because my brain now was saying, well, who the hell is going to listen to you after this woman came on with her X amount of years of experience in taking these exams and teaching people how to study and da-da-da-da-da. People do these things. So I never confronted these two about that move that they made, which was such a sneaky move. And look, listen, there's so many things that I could say right now, but I don't want the focus to be on them or people like them. I've come to a maturity level where I choose my battles wisely. Not everything needs to be a knockout, drag-out affair. And I just took that as something to pay attention to moving forward, specifically with these two individuals. And I'll tell you this, they never undermined me again. And at the same time, as I'm listening to Nona explain her own personal experience with someone who was so happy for her to be a part of the team, and, you're doing this and getting exposure and da-da-da-da-da-da-da, only to now slam the door on the very thing that they were so excited about, I went through that experience with those two individuals. And so as Nona's sharing about the real lessons that she's getting out of it, or that she got out of it through that experience and other similar experiences that she's gone through, I too had started to look at it from a different lens. But this chapter really did it for me, where she said what I mentioned earlier, which is rejection hurts the most when we believe that the person who's rejecting us, or the opportunity that's being taken away from us, or the situation that we're being pulled out of, that we absolutely need it. And it's a lie. Sometimes that rejection is an opportunity to be put into position. So now let me end this off by what it means by being put into position. God gave me this gift of, being able to speak and express myself, and though sometimes I may get highly emotional or my sentences may not come together as well as I would like them to, still, it doesn't stop the passion that He has put within inside me to share. And, she said something too, like, you ever think about the danger of what could happen if you remained there? And that's something that I thought about all of 2024. And then this past February, I left that organization because I thought it would have been a danger for me to stay. And it would stifle what God has in store for me. And what God has in store for me is something that He whispered to me back in 2020. And if I could be completely honest and transparent, the reason why I didn't move on it, there's a couple of reasons. One, I was still getting to know God's voice. And two, I was afraid because life coaching, I was 40 years old at the time when I first received this word. And I thought to myself, I'm barely scratching the surface of life itself. Who am I coaching? Who am I coaching? And what am I telling them? And so that's something that every new believer goes through when they're trying to find their way and be closer to God. And so when I left this past February, it was because it was my apology to God, saying, I'm sorry. I should have had more faith, but I know that you have so much patience for your children, and you know the things that you say to them, and you wait for them to move, and sometimes you intercede on their behalf when they're not getting it. But that's the experience that I went through. So now I'm building my coaching business, and I'm still grateful for going through these experiences, because awful as they were, hurtful as they were when I went through them at the time, there's still so much that I learned. And so my encouragement to you guys is that, I get it, rejection hurts. Like, no one enjoys rejection, okay? But I pray that you take the opportunity to look back at these experiences and see what you've gained and how they've shaped and molded you. And also rely on God to help you walk through these things, because there were moments that I could only rely on him. And I mean, like, why not, right? I know you want people around you to have a ear to hear and a shoulder to lean on, but honestly, like, I wish I could go into more detail, and maybe I'll just make a separate video, but that really is what I got out of it. The skills that I developed and acquired that are now allowing me to be exactly what God had planned for me to be anyway. That's what I love about God most times, that he'll let you go through certain stuff because it'll still bring you to where you're supposed to be. So listen, at the end of the day, I'm encouraging you to buy this book, because it's such a blessing for me. And just sharing the little tidbits here and there, I'm praying that my tidbits inspire you to go be curious about this book. Like, Nona doesn't need me. She doesn't need me to promote it, but I look at it like this, and it's something that I mentioned earlier. Whenever I feel inspired by something someone has shared, I want to go and share it too. And who knows if God is using me to share this with you so that people who need to read this book can read it, and they would have never had access to it had I not come on here and brag about it. You know, that's how I view the way God moves at times. You know, it's not always a direct one-on-one. Sometimes it's other people sharing their stories that they're like, oh, I mean, that's how I fell upon books. That's how I've been introduced to people. It's not like, you know, one day they showed up on my timeline type of thing. So I know I'm rambling. Forgive me. But just one last thing, you know, this is why I created the Better Version. You know, it's for us to come together in community. It's not about me being the poster child for it or anything like that. As you can see, I have a whole logo. My face ain't on it. Like, my name is not on it. I did these things purposely because I want it to be about a community. I want it to be about a collective, not a, oh, let's come see Corey type of thing. Though I may be doing life coaching, that's great. But at the end of the day, I'm trying to build a community of sisters who can support each other and who can heal together. And I'm really passionate about that to almost tears. That's why you hear my voice cracking quite a bit, because it does mean a lot to me. And I think because I've always wanted that, I don't have many friends that, you know, have been with me for 20 plus years. I don't do girl trips because I don't have people around me like that. So this is my way of just taking those who've been rejected, and all of us come together to support one another. So I pray that, you know, the first video and this video has, you know, just blessed you in a way that you're able to make some change in your life and you're able to view your life in a different lens. All right, you guys take care. Peace.